Hi guys, it's me, Ariella, and this is my first official video blog talking about what I had said in my intro video about eating and emotional eating specifically, and sharing with all of you kind of, where I've come from with that and my journey. So please excuse how I look. I just came from the city. I live in New York, so I wasn't seeing my boyfriend this weekend. You'll hear more about him probably more along with my video blogs. So I decided to go into the city and do some errands and get a manicure and pedicure. So it was hot and humid and gross out there, so hence the hair. So sorry it looks pretty drabby, but I wanted to get started on my videos, so here we are. So I've kind of been dealing with emotional eating a little over a year now, which maybe is a surprise. I'm not sure. I guess, it does, for some people, start maybe in their childhood. I had issues with weight when I was growing up, but I don't remember or believe that I dealt with issues or stressors by eating. I think that's something that developed. At the time, I was dealing with a lot of family issues, and also at the same time decided that I wanted to lose weight. I had gained about 20 pounds, which is a lot, I feel, ideally for my body, when I had moved out here. I've now been living in New York for 3 years, and I unfortunately was dealing with my grandfather's passing and moving to a whole new state by myself, no family members here, and there was just a lot going on, and I put on the weight. And I didn't realize it till I came out here that I was like, oh my God, I gained 20 whole pounds and I felt disgusting and gross. And I decided to go on these diets and figure out ways to lose this weight. And so combined with the family stressors that I was going through around this time last year, it just kind of spiraled for me, and I did feel depressed. And at the time, I was in a relationship with my boyfriend, and he definitely could tell a difference. And instead of kind of dealing with the issues, I put my attention towards losing the weight. And so much so that I think I became a little bit obsessed with working out. And I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, which is, if you can do it and it works for you and it's a positive thing for you, by all means do it. But for me, I think it was a punishment, and if I wasn't doing well on my diet, I punished myself by getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and running for an hour, and then coming home and doing a workout video all before going to work. And I became really overwhelmed after a certain point, and maybe like 5 months of doing this, I reached my goal weight. I was really excited, and quickly but surely, I gained all that weight back because I felt really restricted, and I went on a binging spree. So this is kind of where the issue of emotional eating kind of came about. And after a whole month of just binging, which, if you don't know what binging is, it's pretty much consuming large amounts of something. It doesn't necessarily have to be food. You could binge on alcohol, you could binge on so many different things. I can't really think of another example, but there's definitely different ways of binging, and you consume a large amount of whatever the stimulus is, whatever that binge is, and then you're maybe doing really well for a week, and then you consume everything again in very large amounts in one sitting or in one moment, and it's a cycle. So I gained all the way back in that month, and was difficult. It was really difficult because I felt like I did so well with working out all the time and clean eating and not having sweets. I mean, I tried everything. I was first on Curves, which is a program just for women. You have your own gym, just for women, which I really liked. If you are a girl and you know about going to the gym, it's not a great experience. For me anyways, it hasn't really been a great experience because I feel like everyone's just like looking at you and just makes me feel like really self-conscious when I shouldn't be feeling self-conscious. I'm there to work on myself. So it was nice anyways, it was nice to be in an all women's gym. So that was nice. But again, it was, you need to eat this. You need to have a carrot with a tablespoon of ranch, light ranch, and a sandwich with no cheese. I mean, it just spelled out what you could eat. So I did well. I lost about like 10 pounds, I believe. And then I had a difficult time. I wasn't losing the weight. So I decided to go on Weight Watchers. And on Weight Watchers, I did really well. I lost the weight. But again, it was one kind of diet or program after another. And I think it just got to me. I think after a certain point, I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm restricting myself so much that I felt like I needed to rebel. So I went to the opposite extreme of dieting and all that stuff and just binged. And going through this journey of trying to understand why that happened helped me understand that it wasn't just the weight. It was deeper than that. And if you suffer from emotional eating or if you have issues with weight, I've really come to understand and learn that it's not just about the weight. It's about what that means for you, what losing the weight is going to, what's that going to do for you? What is the purpose of it? It's just a lot. It's a lot of psychological and emotional things that are combined and all intertwined in it. I don't even know if I'm making sense. But so I found myself, I mean, I remember the last moment that I was like, this isn't good. I was sitting on my living room floor and I had a package of, I remember it like it was yesterday, a package of golden Oreo birthday cake Oreos, chips, ice cream, and I just sat there and I ate it all of it. And I looked like a balloon. No lie, pregnant, 9 months, like if 10 months existed, it would be 10, and I felt horrible. I felt physically ill, and I just cried. And I didn't know, I obviously knew why, like obviously I felt disgusting and gross, but it was more emotional than that. And I finally said, like I need help. I had a thought that I wanted to vomit, and I didn't. But just the fact that the thought even came to mind was scary for me. And I said, I need help. I got myself into therapy, and I'm still in therapy right now. And it's been helpful to just have somewhere that I could understand my emotional stress, understand my emotions in general, understand why I deal with situations the way I deal with them. That has been a great way for me to move in a more positive direction and deal with the issue. And in addition, which I believe everything happens for a reason, my last program / weight loss program, and I'm not downplaying any of these programs, I don't want to put that out there. This is just kind of what's worked for me, and if you find that these programs aren't working, because believe me, when I was in it, I was like, this is the best. Like, I'm losing weight, I'm following this, I'm doing well. But at the same time, when I didn't do well, I punished myself so badly that I left scars, and it didn't make me feel good. So my last program that I was doing, it was called the Whole 30, and I'm not gonna knock it. And the reason why I'm not gonna knock it is because I think it did teach me a lot about the health part of it, because everybody's body is different. And there's a book that goes along with it, and I have the book, and I read the whole book before I did it, and basically for a whole 30 days, you eliminate a lot of things that could be potentially harmful for your body. And after the 30 days, you kind of wean in those foods to see what foods are not good for your body. And you wean them in groups. So like grains, and then sugars, I can't remember specifically. And I remember they had a forum, and I remember going on the forum, and someone had said on this forum, oh, you should definitely check out this author, Janine Roth. She has these books on emotional eating. If you're suffering from that, it's a great thing to check out. So I did. I was like, okay, like it seems like at that point I already kind of knew that every time I had a negative emotion, I would seek comfort in food. So I knew that it wasn't just, oh, okay, well, I don't like eating vegetables. Okay, I just, I like sweets. It was more emotional for me than that. It was a way for me to deal with things because I didn't know how else to deal with it. In the moment, it made me feel like that was going to make me feel better. It was going to make me feel good. Eating that piece of chocolate, I mean, who doesn't like chocolate? I mean, well, there's some people, but I love chocolate. That was my way of, I want to feel good. Chocolate makes me feel good. That's what I'm going with. And knowing that it was more emotional, there was an underlying emotional issue there, I decided to look up this author. And I'm going to be talking about her a lot actually in my video blogs because she is such an inspiration to me. And if I had all the money right now, I would absolutely go to California, which is where she lives and where her team is. And she works with people who are dealing with emotional eating, and she has these retreats. And if I had the money, I would have already been there. I heard it's just life-changing, and it's just a place that you can really hone in on the emotional aspect of compulsions and binging, and it's specific to eating, but it's not just specific to eating, because all of us have our thing that we gravitate towards to deal with issues that may actually not be healthy. Alcohol, for example, substances, drugs. So she's just amazing. And so I checked out her books, and I am done with 5 books, and absolutely life-changing. Absolutely life-changing. I highly, highly, highly recommend you go out and research her. She has a website. Look up her books. They're amazing. I couldn't remember which book I read first, but there is When Food is Love, and it's exploring the relationship between eating and intimacy. Great, great, great book. And Breaking Free from Emotional Eating. I don't remember which one I read first, but regardless, they're just amazing. And the last one that I'm gonna mention right now is, it's actually a workbook, and it's called Why Wait. And this is actually the last thing that I did, because I don't know, I like books themselves, not necessarily like a workbook where I have to write things down and blah, blah, blah. And I'll explain a little bit more on like my struggles with this as well, but she has these eating guidelines, and before you start thinking, oh great, like another eating guideline, or great, another set of rules that we have to go by, they're just guidelines. They're not rules. They're not, if you don't do this, then this is more for your soul. It's more for being aware of your emotions in relation to eating whatever it is. I'm going to read you what these 7 guidelines that she has. because they're going to be guidelines that I'm going to be trying and working through, and I want you to know exactly what I'm talking about. I'll make sure to reiterate these guidelines throughout my story with you guys, but just for right now, I figured I'd read them to you. So the first is eat when you are hungry. The second is eat sitting down in a calm environment. This does not include the car. Now, I don't have that issue because I live in New York and I don't have a car, so I do not eat in a car. 3, eat without distractions. Distractions include radio, television, newspapers, books, intense or anxiety-producing conversations, and music. And obviously your phone. Number 4, eat only what you want. Yeah. I'm going to go back to that because that's pretty much what the video today is going to be about. Number 5, eat until you are satisfied. Number 6, eat with the intention of being in full view of others. 7, eat with enjoyment, pleasure, and gusto. So these are the eating guidelines that she talks about, and when you first read her books, she goes into depth with number 1 and number 4. Eat when you're hungry and eat what you want when you are hungry. And for someone who has been on a few different diets, a few different programs for a year, reading that, I don't think I laughed, but I think I was like, okay, that's actually impossible. To eat what you want when you're hungry was like, okay, like I just did that. I did that for a month. I was binging, I was eating whatever the heck I wanted to eat. But I think the key is eating when you're hungry. The other difficult part is, how do you know when you're hungry? Especially when you've been told through diet, through programs. I mean, I literally had one of the programs tell me, you need to eat as soon as you get up, then you need to eat a snack an hour before you work out, and then have a whole meal after you work out with a protein, vegetable, a fat. Try to restrict fruit. Don't have fruit after you work out. I mean, one program was like, only have carbs after a certain time. Don't eat after 8 o'clock. It's just, I mean, how do you keep it all straight? Now that I look back at it, I don't know. But whatever your purpose is, I think you think that that's what you're aiming towards, and as soon as you get there, your life miraculously changes. And let me tell you, it doesn't. And not bursting your bubble, it's not what I want to do, but from experience, I got to my ideal goal weight. And you have to question, okay, you got there, why wasn't I able to stay there? Because at the end of the day, it wasn't just the weight. It wasn't just the number on the scale. I thought that as soon as I got there, I was going to be like, my life was going to be amazing. It was going to be a miracle. My life was going to be everything I wanted it to be. But at the end of the day, no matter what weight you're at, you still have stressors. You still have your ups and downs. You still have stress. I mean, that's just something that's inevitable and something that we deal with in life. And you could be at your ideal goal weight, but if you're not understanding the underlying emotional needs that you have, and if you're not being aware of that, and if you're not tending to those needs, who gives a crap at that point? Because you're at your goal weight, you're skinny, you're where you want to be, but you're still miserable. So basically, I did really want to talk about, during this vlog, very briefly, because I know this is a pretty long video, about how I came to try to eat what I wanted when I was hungry. And Janine's great because she's gone through the experience herself, and I think that that's really what sets her apart from so many other so many other self-help books or other supportive resources. She was in our position, she was in my position, and she had to go through these guidelines herself, obviously in order to make them up, but what just made me smile, what just made me feel so good reading her books is there was a part in there where she was talking about the first 2 weeks, because she said that she was going to make this vow, I think for a year, please don't quote me on that, I think it was a year, that she was going to eat what she wanted when she was hungry. And she had said that she was having dinner with her friend, and her friend was having, something healthy, like salad or something, and she was sitting there with her plate of cookies. And she had it for I think 2 weeks, she said. And I know that sounds so bizarre, but it was, in a way, being kind to herself. I think a lot of the times when we go through these diets and we go through these programs, we feel good in the moment that we're doing something and we're motivated and we're losing weight, but then, like I said before, when we're not doing it and we slipped up, had that pizza slice, had that half a cupcake, I'm the worst person in the world. I mean, I literally felt that way. And I don't know if you guys have gone through the same thing and have had those moments, and maybe you're having that moment even right now. What I've been able to learn is to be kind to myself. Because I think that's what I wanted all along, was to be taken care of, was to be loved, to be accepted, to fit in. And I tortured myself, and I'm sorry that I'm even getting emotional, but it is an emotional thing. I punished myself for not following that diet to the T. And I would say to myself, you're weak. You can't even, you want to lose this weight and you can't even do what you need to do to get there. And it actually made it a lot worse. So to have this concept of eat what you want when you're hungry was almost like I could finally breathe. And I did. I for the first week, Janine even says it's mostly eating things that you restricted yourself from eating for however long that happened for. And I remember for dinner, I had a whole Ben & Jerry's pint of ice cream, vanilla caramel fudge, which is my favorite, and it was amazing, with pretzels. And I ate it when I was hungry, and I don't think I really felt guilty. For the first time, it just felt good to give to myself what I wanted, instead of what Weight Watchers told me that I can only have within my points, or what this program told me that I can only eat at this certain time. And it was a game changer for me. And it's not easy, because I still struggle with it. And again, I'm really going to be talking a lot about these issues, obviously the positives that have come along for me throughout this journey, but also the struggles that I still have. Sometimes I'm stomach, I hurry up and be hungry because I want that cupcake that's, right there. So that's been a struggle for me. But it is about tending to your body, listening to your body, being kind to yourself, giving yourself the love that you are looking for, are searching for, and being able to believe that you deserve it and that you are worth something and that you do have value. When you binge, it's a double-edged sword, because you're providing yourself comfort because you believe that that's the way you're going to be able to comfort yourself. I mean, and Janine even says, you know, that that's a positive, that you want to take care of yourself. But in turn, at the same time, you don't think you're worthy enough. You don't think you're good enough to feed your body what your body wants. To sit at a table instead of sitting in a car, eating, or on the living room floor. To taste the food. I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, I had that binge and I could tell you, I don't even know if I tasted it. It's all very new concepts for me. And I hope that throughout this that, you know, you can just question where you're at with this issue. Question, is this an emotional issue for you? And if you want to break free from it. And I hope that I could inspire you in some way throughout all of this to break free with me. So thank you guys so much for watching. There's definitely more to come. I obviously haven't explained everything, all of it, so it might have sounded jumbled in bits and pieces here and there, but I promise it will all come together some way, somehow. So please stay tuned with me, continue to watch my videos, and I hope somewhere someone out there is listening and it helps in some way. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.